Welcome to the debut episode of the LETTERTALKED podcast. We have an exciting episode planned for you as we get into the 2024 hit, The Wild Robot. All right. I am your local film enthusiast and host for today's episode, Andy Roberts. I here have some guests across the table from me, and they are the boys from the House 1055 podcast.
Hey, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having us, but I just want to put on record I'm only here because my boss said I had to be here, so.
Hey, I know you slept on the couch last night, but I do want to remind you still own 50% of this podcast, so let's relax with that.
Oh, so I am the boss.
Technically speaking.
Huh.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Hey, we're here. It's morphin' time, baby. We're glad to be here.
Yeah.
Maybe a little rock, paper, scissors can decide who's 51, who's 49.
Ooh.
Or, casual fight to the death.
Casual fight to the death.
That's how we roll here.
I'll bring the sword next week. I do want to plug real quick the House 1055 podcast. Follow them on all socials. We've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course the YouTube. Hopefully you're watching on one of those things. Otherwise, I don't know how you're doing this. Maybe on TikTok, maybe there's a clip. Other than that, you can also follow me on TikTok. I've got a TikTok I've been running for about a month now. It's Andy P. Rob. I hope you can check us out there. And stay tuned for more socials for the Letter Talk podcast. We're going to start off today with some topical news going on in the world of film. I do want to talk about, first and foremost, the Wes Anderson phenomenon that's coming out tonight. Technically speaking, we're filming this on Thursday, and it comes out tomorrow on paper. The Phoenician Scheme. I've been seeing a lot of talk about this one coming through on Letterboxd, coming through on social media. It's got a 3.5 Letterboxd average, which, if you know, is like pretty solid. 6.9 on IMDb, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Whichever one of those is your favorite, you can take that with a grain of salt because your opinion is what matters when you watch a movie. General buzz has been interesting. I do want to know, have you guys seen much about this movie? Are you excited about this movie? Have you at all been, I know I'm the local film enthusiast, and so I'm not expecting you to know too much about it, but I do want to know, how familiar are you with Wes Anderson?
Not really much at all. But I did see a trailer for this movie, and it looked really fun. So I'm very excited.
Did you see, I know you just got done filming the basketball pod.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Tom Hanks go up and shoot a layup really awkwardly in the trailer? Happen to see that?
I did not see
I
that
hope
trailer.
you pull up that. I hope you pull up that clip. It's
I'll have to
really
pull that clip.
it's ridiculous. He's like, I'm gonna go do this, and I'm gonna do it like kind of sick. He says something
Incredible.
along those lines in like very Wes Anderson
I
type
was about to say, that
dialogue,
sounds very Wes
and
Anderson.
goes like super weird backwards and awkwardly
I
dribbles
just
up to
can't
the
wait
hoop
for
and-
Michael Cera.
Michael
I've
Cera,
heard him and Wes Anderson is a combo we've been needing for a long time. So
and that's the right opinion.
Okay,
I
cool,
don't understand how somebody who starred in Scott Pilgrim, who is like, if Wes Anderson decided he was going to make a video game movie, and decided that finally he's going to be in a Wes Anderson flick, it makes way too much sense. She's way too awkward to have not been in this already. I did get to go see a Grand Budapest Hotel screening at the Tampa Theater recently. That was last Saturday. If y'all are familiar with the Grand Budapest Hotel, it's probably my favorite Wes Anderson flick, which is not a nuanced take. That's probably his most popular flick outside of
Yeah,
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
that's the one I've heard the most of.
But there's a reason it's so popular. It's hilarious. My wife saw her first Wes Anderson there, and it was totally her style. She said, "This is my thing," and I totally agree. Definitely should check that out. Any thoughts before we move on?
No, I'm excited. I do really want to see it. Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
So I do love the style. I love how creative it is. I wish I've seen more of his movies. I just haven't at this point.
His set design.
So I have always wanted to take, like a month and just, take the journey.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson. So I'm excited.
It's worth
I
it.
love movies. I genuinely do. Some are just like not my style. Or like when we get into the art of it, I'm only elbow deep.
Yeah.
You know? Some got Andy shoulder deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there. Oh, no,
Yeah.
actually, he's in the bag.
No, I agree.
He's in the bag. So I dabble. I do love movies. I do love analyzing movies, but I'm definitely not like in there like
Yeah.
swimwear.
I'm a dabbler.
I'm
a dabbler too.
Yeah, I
for
just
sure.
dabble.
Give me a nerd movie. We'll make a feast of it.
Oh yeah,
The
But-
A24 film.
A24 film
yeah,
is just like
Thunderbolts.
Don't know if you heard Thunderbolts. Go check it out. But no, yeah, I do love listening to people talk about movies though. So
Sure.
I'm excited
Beautiful.
to subscribe to the podcast. It's gonna be
I
fun.
will say, I'll speak to your favorite Wes Anderson, maybe only Wes Anderson at this point, but
Yes.
the standout for Wes Anderson is always the set design. So even if you're not coming for the really sharp dialogue that's really witty and you kind of have to pay close attention to catch every beat, or if you're not there for the weird color schemes that they have, color palette, the set design is crazy. And you see that in Fantastic Mr. Fox because the whole thing is miniatures.
Yeah.
The entire thing is stop motion miniatures. So
Puppets.
it's really well done. Cool. I do want to bring up the other one that I know you guys, from talking to you yesterday or a couple days ago, you guys are John Wick virgins. And am I
Shout
right in
out.
thinking that? Hey, I appreciate that, but y'all got to fix it. I'm just saying. You got to fix it.
I thought you'd seen him. You haven't seen him?
I started the first one, and I just didn't finish it.
That's crazy.
Nah,
bro.
nah, listen. All right. Hold on. I got to find myself. Hold on. I fell asleep. And it was
That's
late
even
at night.
crazier.
Yeah,
You're
no.
not digging yourself.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That didn't help my case.
Nope.
Maybe this will. It was really late at night.
Let's just keep pushing.
Okay.
Let's keep talking.
Regardless, the fifth installment in the franchise, led by Ana de Armas, is coming out tomorrow as well. Ballerina. Yes, we all love Ana de Armas in this room, I hope.
Big fan.
I definitely do.
Big fan.
I'm shocked. This has higher ratings than the Phoenician Scheme.
Really?
So far, it has higher ratings than the Phoenician Scheme, which is crazy because I heard there was a screening of it like 3 months ago, and it came in with like dog reviews. Like people were
Really?
like, "This is bad. It did not do well in test screenings." They went back to the drawing board and made some edits, and it's had a huge surge up. Now, I'm not saying they're in the same league or in the same ballpark of, not the same genre of movies, obviously, but at the same time, 3.5 on Letterboxd, 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is 4 less, but then 7.3 on IMDb, which is versus a 6.9 on Phoenician Scheme. I'm shocked that it's gotten up to a 3.5 on Letterboxd for this kind of movie. I don't have the highest of hopes, but I do expect to have a popcorn flick. Y'all are gonna have to check this out. If it's your first John Wick movie, that might be sinning. And I'm
Yeah,
not
I don't
talking
know if I
about
could
Michael B.
do
Jordan
that.
Centers.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, when it first was announced. Now that I've seen the John Wick movies, but I was like, a spinoff. Like you think of a franchise that have a spinoff. It's like,
Yeah.
I know the John Wicks are popular,
Yeah.
but like for any movie to have a spinoff, I was like, really?
I-
And so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I need to watch the John Wick.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not terribly excited about it.
That's fair.
I'm very excited to start John Wick.
Yes.
I will say though, John Wick kind of strikes me as the series where it's like, I'm like 3 movies deep and I'm almost about to get the 4th, and I'm like,
We made another one.
I feel like this is the same thing over and over again.
Oh,
I've
you're
heard
in for
it's
a
not.
treat.
I've heard it's not.
Yeah.
But like that's been my main like hold up in actually sitting down and watching the movie so far.
I didn't binge them all back to back. I
Mhm.
watched them probably a month apart each because I'm just not the biggest action flick guy. But the fight choreography will make you stay. The 4th John Wick, in my opinion, if my ranking were to come out right now, debut, first time ever seen by the world, it goes 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
In my opinion, I think they got
Wow.
better as they went along.
Huh.
The 4th one is 3 hours long, and it's 3 hours of the best fight choreography I've ever seen.
Hey, we love fight
in
choreography.
terms of
That's the thing, though.
with really, really, really sick cinematography.
Okay.
Neon lighting, cool set
I
design.
do like neon lighting.
So it's like, how have we not seen it?
I don't know.
If we're big,
don't
like,
know.
listen, like, I'm a big fight choreography
we've been,
guy.
we both
You know what I mean?
self-claimed for sure.
For sure. And it's like, in cinematography is probably the second most important thing
I
to me.
agree. I agree.
So it's like, the fact that we haven't seen it is actually kind of wild.
Listen,
It
we've
is.
dropped the ball. We're gonna fix this though. I
Yes.
promise we will fix this. We'll get back to you guys.
And I promise I didn't bring you on Letter Talks to
I think
slap
Andy's
your
just
wrist.
exposing
But
us.
I'm not
Andy's
trying to
just throwing all
slap
the
your
dirt
wrist.
on our
Yeah.
But
screen
I do
right now.
want to
That's crazy,
say, I
bro.
do want to say,
I don't feel discredited, but I feel discredited.
I apologize. I've had a severe lapse in judgment. I will say part of the fun of John Wick is Keanu Reeves as the lead. Obviously, he's America's sweetheart when it comes to the film world. Ana de Armas is not exactly in the same lane, but she's also a sweetheart, America's sweetheart in a different way.
In the
Um,
in the eyes of America. Yes.
In the eyes. And honestly, she's had some great performances. I don't want to discount those. It's okay. I got you, big dog. I especially love her in Knives Out. I really think she does a great job in Blade Runner 2049, if you haven't seen
I
that.
have.
But her press run that she's been on has been kind of crazy. Her TikTok game has been crazy for this. and it's been spilling over into Instagram. Also, talk around town is not that she's listen, I'm not saying she's John Wick in Keanu Reeves, but the talk around town is that she's like shockingly committed to the choreography, shockingly committed to the athletic training, shockingly committed to taking that whole thing seriously. I don't think I don't think they walked into Ballerina thinking this is going to be our Ana de Armas movie. But I'm shockingly surprised, pleasantly surprised that she got the role in general, because that was not something. She's not an action star.
No.
Yeah.
The one action movie she's been in, I'm gonna have to flame her for a second.
You think it's funny that you use the term I'm shockingly surprised that she's committed. This whoever would have been casted is committed to the fight choreography of quite literally the bread and butter of the franchise. Like, how are we shockingly surprised that she's committed to the fight choreography if that is literally the number one most important
whole
thing
movie.
in a
That's
John
true.
Wick movie?
I'm not saying I'm shocked that the lead in a John Wick movie is committed. I'm shocked that Ana de Armas is getting glowing reviews from set people. If that makes sense. Now that could be press
And
release.
if she
That
wasn't,
could be all those things. Right.
recast it.
But
Get 'em outta here.
but I want y'all to know, as somebody who loves Ana de Armas, I've seen almost 10 Ana de Armas movies, which is a lot because she doesn't have that big of a filmography, and I've stayed away from the stuff that's softcore porn.
Sounds fair enough.
There's
That's fair.
there's 2 movies that she's in that she is actually committing to an action set piece. One of them is good, which is 2021's No Time to Die, which is James Bond. That's fantastic. She's
Yeah.
really good in that. It's
Yeah.
very limited though. She has like 10
Yeah,
minutes of screen
it made
time.
me sad when I watched it, and I was like, oh, she's
She's barely
this
in the
for, like,
movie.
a second.
She's
Got
killer
it.
in that movie.
Got it.
Literally. And the other one is 2023's Ghosted.
I actually liked
I
Ghosted. I know you're probably not gonna like Ghosted, but I like Ghosted.
I despised it from a critical perspective. And pairing
Alright.
her and Chris Evans together works. We've seen that in Knives Out. 4 years before that movie came out, they took everyone's hearts, including mine, with Knives Out as the 2 ultimate leads in that movie. But brother, when you see her performances and you watch enough of her filmography, I was kind of shocked. I was like, okay, I'm sad for this, but cautiously optimistic. I've ended up being pretty impressed with how things are coming out. So, hey, stayed a little longer on that one than I meant to, but
That's
listen,
okay. We're always down to talk some Ana de Armas.
always. Letterboxd roundup. I do want to say, if you guys have been watching any movies lately, let me know. I this week have watched. I mentioned Grand Budapest Hotel. I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox. I watched Shrek 2.
Hell up.
Nice.
Very
Shout
very
out
great.
Shrek 2,
I
though.
think this is my. I think I like the first one a little better.
I'm gonna save my comments for this for our segment coming up. That's all I'm gonna say. Though.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm
Okay.
gonna save that for.
My disappointment of the week that I'm shocked about because I was expecting to have a really good time is The Breakfast Club.
Okay.
Mm.
Really?
I saw The Breakfast Club for the first time and it was extremely mid.
Wow.
For a hangout movie, I was kind of disappointed. I had no fun.
Wow.
I was kind of bored.
Okay.
A hangout movie, if you,
You think
guys
it's
don't
more
know,
because it's a product of its time?
yes, I actually chopped it up with somebody. Somebody recommended it to me. I'm part of a Discord that will kind of assign movies every once in a while. It's a guy who grew up with the movie, and he's like, I'm not sure when I can introduce my kids to this. And I said, do it when they're a teenager because I've missed the plane on this.
I agree.
It's-
That's what I've
I
actually
didn't see it at the
heard
right
is that
time.
You should introduce it as a
as a
earlier
teenager, or else if you grew up in the 80s, and I have
Yeah.
neither of those. So it kind of missed the mark for me. I also did get to go see Friendship this past week. That,
Oh yeah.
I
guys,
really
if
wanna
you've
see that
seen
movie,
I
yeah.
Think You Should Leave, this is so
I
up
know.
your alley.
That's why I can't wait for it. I love that show. So like I literally can't wait.
I walked out of it with a couple friends, and they said, what the hell did we just watch?
Good. That's exactly.
And that's
what
exactly
I
what you're supposed to walk away with.
Have you ever watched
Yeah.
I Think You Should Leave on Netflix?
No, but I have heard that
Oh,
this
boy.
friendship movie is pretty good. And I think I want to check it out.
I have a group of buddies who can quote every single word from that TV show like it's the Bible
I love
on
that.
on a beat on a moment's notice. It's actually incredible.
I think it's the first time I've actually heard of it. So,
You should. I don't know if you're gonna find it funny. It's not really your type of humor.
nor do I have the time.
I think. Well, that's the beauty of it. The episodes are like 10 to 15 minutes long. They're
Oh.
really quick.
They're really short. They're
it's
like
like-
YouTube
Don't got it.
videos.
It's like 3 skits and that's it.
Don't
You
got
should
it.
you should watch one episode.
All right, I'll check
I'll
it out.
send you one episode.
You
each-
convinced me.
each scene is essentially a skit,
It
and
is,
they weave
yes.
together
Yeah.
for a. I'm saying for the movie.
Oh,
for
really?
Friendship.
Okay,
it's
cool.
essentially a skit, but it's weaved together in a long narrative, and it works shockingly well. Even though you don't come for the narrative,
Yeah.
it's actually pretty sick.
Yeah. The
I'm
moment
excited
I
for you
heard
guys to
Tim
see it.
Robinson and Paul Rudd, I was like, yeah, sign me up.
It's
good.
perfect.
I'm in.
Fair
It
enough.
had. I'm not going to spoil anything because I know you guys haven't seen it, but I
Mhm.
will say I love when an idiot in a comedy movie actually sees something for repercussions for his actions.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. So if you guys have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you will.
So like Dumb and Dumber, not your thing.
I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber. That's my sin.
Really okay.
That's something. Yeah, I actually watched it with a friend of mine named Bryce, who will probably be a co-host on the podcast coming soon. Dumb and Dumber is his favorite comedy of all time.
Really?
So
That's
he
funny.
walked out of that saying this was nothing like Dumb and Dumber, and I
okay.
said, "Thank God." And so that was exciting. I don't really know what my specific brand of comedy is, but if anyone out there knows this movie, my favorite comedy of all time, if you pin me down right now, is actually the movie I'm going to mention in the TikTok we film later, Hundreds of Beavers. It's a black and white silent film from 2024 that is essentially live action Looney Tunes.
Interesting. What a concept.
What a weird concept.
What
And
a
it
prop.
works so
Now, you want to
well.
know my favorite?
Please tell me your favorite comedies of
Yeah,
all time.
Medea.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Very,
Yeah.
very
no,
very
no,
different.
I like
Very
Medea though. I like
Very
those.
different.
That's very
But that's
different, but
my-
it's good too.
Oh yeah, childhood.
I really like dry humor. Like that's why I love like Fantastic Mr.
So Friendship
Fox
might be
and,
up
and
there.
a lot of and Friendship and things like that. It's just like
It's a white people
Severance too. Severance too is just like it's like every moment is just like you
like-
should not be laughing, but
It's like the way you season your food.
no,
it's
I
kinda
actually
like the
season my
humor.
food quite well. I'm Italian, so there's
Yeah.
nothing goes unseasoned in my house.
Mm.
How many bottles of red pepper flakes do you go through in a year?
So I don't like spicy. So red pepper
Oh,
flakes, no.
I'm
But
out.
garlic powder, onion parsley. We have this little Greek seasoning. We go through bottles of that stuff.
Okay.
Like a week. Like a week.
I will.
He likes his humor like he likes his people he hangs out with.
I'm not trying to flame you.
I hang out with
promise.
you.
Quite.
I hang out with you.
Not as much.
I hang out with you a lot, actually.
Yeah, maybe
Probably more than anyone outside of my wife.
that's how it should be. First and foremost, I'm the only spice in your life.
That's crazy. That's not how you should take that. What I said to
Yes.
you.
I'm not trying to flame you, but they do say don't eat food from everybody's house. You've earned a seat from me. I will sit down at your house and eat something that you've
We
cooked.
could cook you up a mean meal.
I might bring my own red chili pepper flakes, but that's not as an insult.
Hey, that's okay. I don't mind adding them to things. I just don't personally go for them. Not my first
For
choice.
reference, my Mexican American wife, when she came home from work today, she said, "Can you go pour me a bag of chips or a bowl of chips?" And I poured her a bowl of chips. It came back. They're jalapeno chips, by the way. She said, "Can you bring me some hot sauce?" So
Yeah, I just don't like. Yeah, that's not.
that's
Yeah.
the frame of reference I'm coming from. Just saying.
not me.
Regardless, enough dilly dallying. Enough
Dilly dilly.
nonsense. Enough yapping. I wish I had my yapping sound effect. It's not ready yet today. That's okay. We'll put it in. We've got our feature presentation, DreamWorks The Wild Robot. This is directed by Chris Sanders, who, if you guys didn't know, is the director of How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, The Croods, and Call of the Wild, if you know that. He's got a pretty good track record, but he hasn't done too much. He probably does a project every 4 years or so, relatively. He also is the voice of Stitch.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
That's pretty sick too. So if you think about it, the guy who speaks like a literal animal and alien is also making brilliant movies about motherhood and parenthood and that will touch you
Honestly,
down
that
to
makes
the core.
sense because all these movies I'm seeing on this list are very much have those themes.
100%. He specializes in it. Notable cast members: Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal, Bill Nighy, Kit Connor, and Stephanie Sue. You might recognize some of those people. You might not recognize some of those people.
I'm surprised you're missing a very big credit for Bill Nighy over here.
Oh, I said Bill Nighy.
You did.
Yeah.
I know you're missing a credit for him. I'm surprised you don't have the Pirates of the Caribbean over there. Davy Jones himself,
Oh, that's true.
probably his biggest role.
That's true. Yeah, it's very notable. I love his role in that. Also, I forgot to
Mark
mention
Hamill.
Mark Hamill's in this.
Is
He's
Lupita
Thor.
the robot?
Yeah,
Yo, that's
Lupita's the
crazy.
robot.
I was
She's
wondering who was
fire
doing
with
that the
it.
entire
Yeah, she's
time.
really good. Ving Rhames. If you guys don't know Ving Rhames, he's from Pulp Fiction, Guardians, Mission Impossible. He also is in this. He's in Lilo and Stitch too, but he's Thunderbolt in this, which I recognize his voice. Clocked
dude,
it instantly.
that's
and
what I
was
was
like,
saying,
oh,
bro.
shoot.
Yeah, but
that was
he's
sick.
just got one of those voice like
You can't
know
miss
it
it.
immediately.
You can't miss it. So
Arby's.
that's it. Arby's.
have the meat.
Wait, does he do that?
Yeah, that's it.
I am-
That's it.
I've been outclassed. That is sick. Do you guys know Stephanie Sue?
Nope.
Have you guys seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Haven't
So
yet.
all right, so
Yeah,
another movie I started, and like I've heard nothing but brilliant things,
It's really good.
dude. I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for it, but it just
Probably.
wasn't. It wasn't.
I'm shocked.
It wasn't
gotta lock
hooking
in.
me. No, but just like I
No.
love multiversal, like
That's
all
why.
that stuff.
That's why
I
I'm
know
shocked.
it's like it definitely was like right up my alley, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't give you a reason. I need to give it another go.
I have just yet to actually put my eyes to it. I really want to. I just have yet to do it.
It's worth it. It's my favorite multiverse portrayal on film, apart from Across the Spider-Verse.
Mm.
That's the only thing to me that rivals it.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Sue in it is basically the villain, and she's fantastic. She's had a slow rollout of films since then, but she's slowly getting some more roles, and she deserved a bigger one. She, in case you didn't know, in this was playing the robot that was essentially, if you guys have seen War of the Worlds, essentially the War of the Worlds robot.
Very Matrix inspired.
Yeah, very
as well.
Matrix inspired.
It did
War
look
of the
like it,
Worlds.
yeah.
If you guys have seen Chicken Little,
Dude,
that's so Chicken Little. The
It's
War of the Worlds
100%
robot
Little.
and Chicken Little robot
Chicken
are the
Little
same
literally
thing.
copied War of the Worlds.
They did.
So I mean, that
Wait,
makes sense.
no, I looked it up
Mhm.
because when I logged War of the Worlds last like a few weeks ago, maybe
Mhm.
last month, and they came out the same year, like months
Really?
apart. I
Wow.
don't know who came
Yeah,
first
that's
because I don't know which started production first.
Dang.
I don't know who was looking at whose homework for that movie, but it came out
Hey.
the same year, 2004, I think.
that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Audience, if you know some deep dives about that,
Let me know.
drop it.
That'd be sick. This is DreamWorks Animation's 4th feature film. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars this past year. So here's my first question to pose to you guys. Knowing now some of the other movies he's made, How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, and I know when I heard a Cruise mention earlier. Do you think this is as good? Where does it stack up to you guys?
Ooh, I know.
Against
I know
Chris
where you're
Sanders'
at.
other
You
work.
want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. As a recent, I just watched How to Train Your Dragon. The first one and second one. Haven't gotten the third one yet, but still, just watched the first one and second one probably a month ago, for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And it was inspired because Universal's opening Epic Universe, and they're having a How to Train Your
Right.
Dragon. So I was like, oh, I really want to make sure like I know my stuff. So watched it. Big fan.
Yeah. It's heat.
Phenomenal
It's
movie.
really good.
Your question is I'm gonna say it's in the ballpark.
Okay.
It's up there. I think for me, Wild Robot hit a little bit more for different reasons, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would put it like 1A, 1B with the first How to Train Your
Ooh.
Dragon, because I think I personally like the first one more than the second one. Second one's still fantastic.
Yeah.
But I would put Wild Robot like up there. Like,
Okay.
And listen, I just watched Wild Robot for the first time like a couple days ago, so it could be recency bias.
Yeah.
It could be once we get away from it a little bit, that could change. But it's in the stratosphere as far as How to Train Your Dragon.
I think critically wise and just executed all around as like a movie wise, I think it's up there. Like it's pretty consistent with the level of work that DreamWorks puts out. For me personally, in my heart, it's nowhere close. But that's not. I'm not really not trying to like bring down Wild Robot. That's more of a testament to just how
Right.
much I think of the other movies. But I agree. Like this is like DreamWorks is a pretty long list of just like
Speaking of
really good movies.
Speaking
So-
of DreamWorks, and this is a perfect segue. If you were to create a Mount Rushmore, so top 4 DreamWorks animation films, what are you putting on there? That's my question. I will pose my 4 as you prep yours. I think you guys might have walked in with it prepped, but that's okay. Shrek is my number 1. Well, I can't. This is where I was even looking at it just now, and I can't say number 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's just got to be Mount Rushmore, right? Top 4, no order. Shrek, Kung Fu Panda 2. I like 2 better than 1. The Wild Robot, I think, does crack it for me. And How to Train Your Dragon, with a notable mention of the Captain Underpants movie. I genuinely think that's hilarious. I
Yeah.
watched it last year, and I was fully expecting to be dropping like a 2-star on Letterboxd, and I walked away with like, oh shoot, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
What
What do you wanna
any
do?
thoughts, Joe?
I think I'm gonna go Shrek. I think it's just
You can't
too
not-
iconic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Megamind. Big
good pull.
fan. Big fan. I think it's also because the first time I watched it, I was deathly sick. I'm sure you remember.
Was that out of the apartment?
Yeah, when
that
we
was
lived
the week
together.
you almost died.
Yes, yeah, I
Fever
watched it
movies
for
hit different.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
for real.
Especially when
so-
you watch the same bull movie like 7 times
yes,
in a row. Like you did.
Ferdinand.
Like
Yes.
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand the Bull.
Yeah, that was
That's fine.
Then we paused to watch Megamind for the 6th time as an apartment,
yes.
and then we went back to Ferdinand the Bull.
Listen, Ferdinand was for
Wow.
my girlfriend at the time, wife now, but was able to watch Megamind. So that's up there. I think it's my humor.
Yeah.
And I am a sucker for a villain.
Yeah, you
And,
can't.
and Megamind
Yeah.
is just, to me, he's hilarious.
It's DreamWorks' Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. That's super
I'm
fun.
gonna put the bad guys. That's probably I love that
I
movie.
haven't seen that one
That's
yet.
so funny.
I love that movie. And then this last spot and
God, I feel like you've named 6 movies so far. You're on your 4th.
the last one. I would say The Wild Robot probably should be on there, but the reason I'm not putting it on there is because I don't want recency bias to kind of
Fair.
take over. So I put Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
Dude, that's
You're saying Dogman didn't crack your Mount Rushmore?
Nope.
Not doing it for you?
Not doing it for me. But the second Puss in Boots, that did it for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't be a skeptic. Just watch it.
Yeah.
of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Here's
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to.
yes.
I'm waiting because every theater is doing their like $1 or $2 like movie ticket thing this summer,
Oh,
and they're
exciting.
all screening Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Let's
So I'm
all
waiting
get
to
that
watch
down
it on
the
the big screen
calendar.
because I missed
Yeah,
it.
bro.
So-
I missed it.
Bro.
So if y'all want to go,
Yeah,
I will
we'll go.
100%.
Oh no, we're there.
Go
I
with
love
you.
that movie.
So they're screening it for like $1 or $2 at Cinemark, CMX, AMC, everywhere. Regal.
Dude, DreamWorks roster is just deep, bro.
It's
It is
deep.
deep.
It's deep.
It's so good. I mean, just,
It's
people
so
sleep.
deep that it made our IP
it
bracket
did.
in our 2025 IP
plug.
playoffs.
It did.
So go check that out because DreamWorks actually has their own lineup.
Mhm,
Dude, we
mhm.
took some of the most famous characters from DreamWorks product, put them in a basketball lineup, and they're pinned up against other very popular IPs.
Yeah.
So go check that out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of characters you probably love
Please do.
from DreamWorks. But I mean, what do you got in your top 4? I mean, I already know.
Real quick. I don't mean to interject.
no,
but
you're
before you
good. Go
get in
ahead.
there, I
Go
just want
ahead.
to ask, what's the most shocking member of your starting 5 on that DreamWorks roster? What's the most
For
surprising?
DreamWorks?
For DreamWorks.
Frick.
Oh,
I know who you're gonna
man.
say.
Toothless? The fact that a dragon
No,
is on our
he's
team
not
is on our
starting.
lineup?
He's not starting. He's
I
not
know, I
starting.
know. He's not starting. But the fact
Um,
he's on the lineup, it's how do you have
yeah.
a dragon?
Deep
but
roster pull right there.
Toothless can
That's
hoop.
good though.
He
He can
can
hoop.
hoop.
Toothless,
He's athletic.
You don't want to face Toothless in the ice.
Yeah, you
It's not
don't.
happening.
You really don't.
With or without his
No,
extra
you're
wing.
probably gonna say Hiccup.
No way. He's starting.
Yeah,
Starting point.
that's
guard.
what.
Hiccup's point guard.
The only reason is Hiccup is because I'd rather have Moses at point guard.
Okay.
Hiccup needs to be on the team. That's
Yeah,
not. That's
100%.
not. That's not what's
well,
being
I'm gonna
debated.
say,
He and
I'm gonna
Toothless
say
have to be
one that I
partnered.
feel like is very relevant for this podcast. We really whiffed with Stoic here because we should have put like the Wild Robot in.
Yes,
something.
I do agree.
And we did not put the Wild Robot in yet because we had not seen the movie.
That's
yet.
true.
Might
So
be
we,
making
we
an
were
addendum.
kind of weird, but that's probably like our biggest whiff is not including.
I agree.
Wild Riff.
That's a
Wild
good
I
call.
think having 3 How to Train Your Dragons, one, I think is a testament to how great that movie is, but I think we did maybe put too many in there, and I think Wild Robot definitely could take Stoic's spot.
Word.
Yeah, we had to make some hard decisions.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
our rosters, we really did. Anyways, top 4. You're gonna see a little bit of a theme here. Because I think DreamWorks is just really good at sequels. I think they
are.
knock sequels out the
Way
park.
better than most.
The
animated
best
studios.
Shrek movie, Shrek 2.
Not a bad take.
I don't care what you say in the comments. Please come at
They're
me.
already typing it.
I hope you are.
I think most
2
people
is
agree.
The best Shrek movie.
No,
I
it
think most
is.
people
It's,
agree.
it's just undisputed. I love the original. I love every Shrek movie. They have
Yeah.
not missed a Shrek movie yet,
We'll
That I
see.
disagree with you on.
and that's okay. You don't like 4th one?
Nah.
We'll
I don't like
I-
the third
hey,
one that much, but
we'll
I haven't
see- we'll
seen
see
it in
with
a
this
while.
new
I
one.
haven't
I
seen
don't
three
know.
or four in a
Wholeheartedly
while.
disagree. I think all of them are great for their own reasons. But Shrek
Well,
2
fourth is decent.
definitely
3 is
the
maybe
best.
the one that I'm thinking it's
Shrek
bad.
2 is definitely the best. Come on, you don't like Justin Timberlake as the little prince guy?
Isn't he the second one? The prince?
No, he's the
You talking
third
about
one.
Rumpelstiltskin?
No, he's in the third one.
I have to see the third
See,
one
he
again.
doesn't even know his Shrek lore. What are we talking about here? What are we
Listen,
talking about?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
This
It's been a
dude, this
while.
dude is way too
Shrek
deep.
2. Man, like, see, I'm gonna have to
This is your
negate
niche.
Shark Tale out this list. I'm gonna have to negate Madagascar out this
Dude,
list.
y'all remember? Think about Shark Tale. I remember growing up and go to the dentist every 6 months.
It was always on to the dentist.
Always
Always
on
on
in
to
the
the dentist.
dentist, bro.
That's crazy. You would
That's
think it'd
right.
be Finding Nemo.
Right. That was also.
That was 2, but
that was at my orthodontist. I had both.
see,
That makes
I was,
sense.
I was down bad.
I had a
Uh,
Hispanic dentist, and it was just a talk show up there every single
Dog.
time. Even for
Shark
me as a kid,
Tale.
it was
You
just-
need a new
Every
dentist.
single. So that's why
crazy.
it's
I
not
love
up
my
there.
dentist.
I associate Shark Tale with hell. So yeah, with hell.
Shine that teeth, baby.
Yeah, nah, dog.
I don't know, man.
Oh
Will
my-
Smith's got sauce in that movie.
He does.
I'm gonna have to go with this one because it's literally just a personal favorite of mine that I grew up with. Over the Hedge is just so
it
precious to me, bro.
That's a great one.
I watched that movie so many times.
Very
growing
short
up.
movie.
It is very short.
Very
Isn't it
short.
like 70, 80 minutes?
Damn,
Yeah,
does
dude.
it shine?
It does.
It does.
Great heat check.
That's insane.
Listen, B movie, fantastic movie
good.
to watch. It's not on my list.
Got
but
memed too
fantastic
much.
movie to watch if you're like wanting to trip around with some drugs. But anyways,
Drinking
Yeah, it
game.
got memed too much.
Drinking
Just
game.
Killed it.
I really want to say How to Train Your Dragon 2 because I think that's my favorite. But I think Mount Rushmore wise, I think
first
the
one.
original How to Train Your Dragon is just the best because
Yeah.
of what it did for the DreamWorks filmscape. It was just an incredible out of the park home run. And then last one would have to be. I agree with you. I think Kung Fu Panda 2 is the better one.
It's better.
And I would say Kung Fu Panda 2 takes my last spot. So
By the way,
I was almost gonna have 3 number 2s and then Megamind there. That
That's
was gonna be my
Megamind, yeah, Megamind.
Megamind was Megamind is like that is the closest of fifths it could be
Mhm.
for me. It was either that or Over the Hedge, and Over the
Yeah.
Hedge was just too precious to me.
That's just childhood.
Yeah,
Over the Hedge. is
100%,
childhood.
100%.
Sure.
that's how your list should be. And I have to say, hold on, I just forgot my train of thought.
We got our Mount Rushmores.
Yes. Okay. Regardless, wherever it was, I'll think about it later. Kung Fu Panda 2 is the best one.
It's the best one.
It's the best one, and I think
And I love the first one.
Even the first one's great.
First one's
Oh,
good.
oh, this is,
Tai Lung's definitely better though.
I have to be.
he's good.
I have to take like 20 seconds to
Mhm,
say.
mhm.
DreamWorks, you do sequels well. You deserved your praise in 2024 for The Wild Robot. Go to hell for Kung Fu Panda 4. It's so bad.
Oh,
It's
really?
so bad.
Mm.
It's
I haven't
so
seen
bad. I went to the theater having just binged
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
fully expecting to have a good time.
I mean,
Guys,
to
I
be
almost
fair,
walked out the theater.
technically, it's not a sequel at that point.
You
So
think
they
it's a reboot?
so they still do sequels well. But at that point, it's what probably
Is it not a
saga?
sequel to the third one?
No, because at that point, 4
Oh,
is
yeah,
what, a
it's got-
saga?
4's got to be a saga.
It's a
at that
I think
saga.
4 is a saga?
Okay. Well,
So
maybe they do
sa-
sequels well and sagas poorly.
Maybe.
I
But
didn't
Kung Fu
see
Panda
it
4
because
is
of the
bad.
whole preface that the movie laid out. I was just like, I'm out. For those reasons,
I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm convinced that I know people wanted to talk about Jack Black's performance in the Minecraft movie being somewhat phoned in, and I haven't seen it yet. But Jack Black, I've never seen him phone something in more, and
You're
I
telling
my
me he
heart
didn't
kind of
just do it
broke a
for
little bit.
paycheck?
My heart kind of broke a little bit. No, well, Jack Black will sell out for a meme.
Yeah,
Y'all don't
I know,
understand. If you
I'm
see his
aware.
socials, he will
I've
do
seen
it.
him
But
play
Talk.
whatever that weird toy saxophone thing is in front of thousands.
Talk.
it's one of my favorite Jack Black moments.
Yeah, I mean, also, and then the Princess Peach song.
Oh yeah, thousands.
They milked that thing
Peaches,
dry,
peaches.
bro. They milked that
Hey
thing.
Jack, can you just write this for us? Appreciate
Also, we joke about the Minecraft movie. Made a lot of money.
it.
Made a heck of a lot of movies.
Video
money,
game
yeah.
movies
Did make a lot of
are
movie
up
money.
right now.
They are up. I thought Uncharted might have killed the video game movie, but
No, Borderlands almost killed it.
Yeah,
Borderlands
I'm
was
about to say,
crazy.
Borderlands was atrocious.
I mean,
Hold
hey,
space for Ariana DeBose, but she needs to grow a little bit. But she's actually the only thing that in that movie that's decent. But at the same time,
Yeah, decent
yeah,
is
that
also.
movie almost killed it. Well, with that
know,
script,
for
to
sure.
be a decent performance
For
is
sure.
kind of notable.
I agree.
Regardless, she's got room to grow.
yeah,
she's
any type of good
she's a young
acting
actor.
in that type of script, that's saying something.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, it's bad.
Facts. That script is
It's
bad.
bad. They have the final scene in that movie. This is spoilers, but if you're worried about spoilers, for the
Don't watch
Borderlands
this movie.
get a
No,
job.
I
Get a job,
will
I'm
never
sorry.
watch this movie.
Don't
Get
watch
it.
this movie.
The final moment has Kate Blanchett, who's supposed to be playing like a 20-something.
Yeah, I heard.
And
Come on, bro. Lillian, yeah.
she takes this really poor CGI, it looks like PS2 graphics, like flame wings,
Yeah.
and flies around and kills people
Yeah,
with
it's
their
really
flame
bad.
wings.
Very cool.
No, it's really
So
bad.
bad.
Very cool.
Yeah, not,
So
not
bad.
cool.
It has nothing to do with Borderlands.
That being said, Borderlands 4 is dropping this year. Very excited for
and
it.
Borderlands 2 right now is free on Steam. My friend texted me that today.
Also,
so
best Borderlands of the trilogy.
that's
so,
big.
Borderlands
big.
2.
Sequels, baby.
Okay,
sequels,
so
baby.
diving more
Sequels.
into our feature presentation of the Wild Robot, I have a few points I want to touch. First thing, I love that Roz is essentially a crossover of Wally and Baymax. You can obviously see the Lilo and Stitch origins with Chris Sanders, but he's essentially my wife turned to me because we watched it last night. It was her first time, my second, and she said, oh my gosh, it's Baymax, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty sick. She loves Big Hero 6, but it's kind of a lot of Wally and Baymax crossover. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it. The simplicity of thinking from Wally.
Yep.
And just kind of the nurturing aspect of Baymax.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see how that would.
It really was like if they had a baby.
Maybe a little
Really,
Iron
yeah.
Giant in there
a little bit
for
Yes.
being OP.
Yes.
for sure.
genuinely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely OP.
So I love that part. Real quick, I want to mention the animation is brilliant.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's really good. It's breathtaking, and I really appreciate. I think there's a barrier that the Spider-Verse movies broke with Into the Spider-Verse. I feel like for at least 10 years, animation was getting stale in its style, and this is not the same style. You can talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. You can talk about the Spider-Verse movies. You can talk about other things that kind of adopt that comic book aesthetic. This isn't that, but it is almost like an indie video game aesthetic that comes through beautifully. I mean, the moment you see that opening shot of Roz kind of touching the wall and all the butterflies flying off, and you're like,
Oh, that was good.
you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually taking it this is taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
And the fact that it opens with no dialogue,
That's-
no backstory,
That's
no-
what I wanted to point out.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just in it.
you're
I
immediately
don't-
into it.
I don't know how she got here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
There's
we
no a
get
long
into
time
it, but
ago.
yeah, no, it's just I just crashed on the beach.
That's
I
very
crashed on the
Wally-esque.
Yeah,
That's
It
very,
is.
how
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
just kind of there, and there's not a lot of dialogue. There's no talk. Honestly, for a minute, I thought we were not gonna have any. I'd seen shots from the trailers of like animals talking, so I figured that was gonna happen eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I spent a solid 5 minutes at the beginning of this movie being like, all right, there's not gonna be much talking,
Yeah.
and I'm just kind of I'm here for it.
Yeah, and the animation also takes flight, by the way. The bedtime story watercolor animation is so sweet and
Yeah.
so well done that they're kind of sitting up there in the corner where the sun and the moon is, and they're kind of looking down on some things on that little path that's walking through. I loved the way that they did that, because not only are they leaning into the unique animation style of the whole movie, but they're taking that watercolor aspect, which I love when a movie will change mediums. They do that in Across Spider-Verse. I watched them recently. Like
I was
2-3
gonna
times,
tell you like that movie. I was gonna chime in. That movie completely rewrote the animation game.
It did. It did.
It like we talk about like movies that genuinely just like changed, like Steph Curry, the landscape.
Yes.
Yeah, facts.
That was
100%.
one of them that just because you can see a lot of inspiration in this movie from those movies, especially with the watercolor stuff. It's like heavily
Yeah.
inspired.
Hey, you're
Poorly
preaching
timed,
right
but
now.
Yeah.
You are preaching.
And that's the truth. Root.
It's true. It's true. And I think
Thanks,
it's
Samuel.
impossible. Yeah, Samuel Jackson.
Thanks,
if you haven't
Sam.
seen Do the Right Thing, that's in my top 4. That's big. It's summer. This is the right time
Can we
to
get
watch
the
that
other
movie.
Samuel L. Jackson clip where he's screaming the F word? Can we get that?
No.
I'm tired of all these snakes.
The boss said, "No, that's
Oh.
not our lane."
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
We'll get a restricted tag on Spotify.
yeah, right.
I think it might be on there.
It's gonna mess with monetization.
Fair enough.
Yeah, come on, man.
Samuel L.
Um,
Jackson is not great for monetization. Too many mother effers.
Or is he?
Huh.
Counter.
I don't know. That man
Counter.
has made a lot of money.
The box
A lot
office
of money.
disagrees.
The box office. Yeah, the box office says no. That's true. But I do think that it's impossible to mention animation in 2025
Yeah.
without mentioning those movies. It's
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
What was your favorite animation sequence in the movie? Was there something that stood out to you guys, or
One that really stuck out to me was all the fire at the end.
yes,
The very end
oh,
of the movie.
Mm.
Just
I
a
wrote that down
really-
too.
Okay.
Really good way of doing that. I think one small detail of animation that they included was just the lights in which how they glow throughout the robot whenever
Yes.
Roz is feeling different things.
Yeah.
Because
Good
you can
detail.
kind of see her evolution of thinking as well through the lights, which
Yes.
is fun. The moment she picks up on something, they'll change, they'll blink a little bit, and that'll
Yeah.
be it.
Warmer lighting.
Yeah.
When she talks, it blinks.
So, like that's a small detail, and the fire is kind of like just like a big landscape with like even the ship exploding at the end there. I was like, wow, that looked
Yes.
really good.
It's fire.
It was just
Literally.
incredibly done throughout that, and it catches your eye because it's not fire,
yeah,
like
it's pink. It's pink.
Yeah.
and so I think it's just unique in catching your eye that way. Just
I
a small
love-
detail they added, just to.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was their purpose behind doing it, but it caught my eye more than even just like firewood. So
No, I think that fire was beautiful, and I love the detail too of. It's so funny how I can't remember the character's name right now, but the beaver going at the tree and how they finally push the tree over
yeah, I've
to,
got him.
to knock
I've,
that.
I've got him
knock
lined
that
up.
water down.
I think
I've
it's
got him.
paddles.
It's not
Paddler.
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 Yeah, he's a fun comedic relief, and I love how they bring him in at the end. But the way that the fire then is extinguished by the water flow, there's a
Yeah.
lot you can tell about the quality of animation in any movie, video game, whatever, by the water.
I agree. It's one of the hardest things for
It's
them to do.
very hard to do.
Yeah.
The flow of water is hard, whether the style you're going to commit to, whether how it fits into the scheme and the ethos of your movie.
Mm.
It really fits really well, and I love the way that it extinguishes those pink flames.
Yeah.
That's something I thought I brought up too. That's cool.
I think for me it was when she had when she was helping. God, what do they call it? Bright Bill? When
Yeah.
she had Bright Bill on Roz's shoulder, and she was like running with the with other birds and kind of helping him like
Mm-hmm.
give him that boost. I just one powerful moment.
Yeah.
Two just looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's really, I love that spot too. That is leading into one of my other points. Going back to what you mentioned, the first like 5 to 10 minutes. This is one of my other points, and I'm gonna bounce it over to you guys if you have something you want to bring up. But the analogies of parenthood that play out throughout the movie are so well done. I love that they manifest essentially through a war of Roz's programming versus how she can complete her task.
Mm-hmm.
She goes through the ringer in the beginning, though. In the beginning,
Yeah.
the first 10 minutes, she shows up. She doesn't know where she is. She crashed out of nowhere.
Mm.
She got struck by lightning. The animals tear her apart. All her pieces, she's got to gather them back up. She gets chased by a bear.
Mm-hmm.
All in the first 10 minutes of the movie. I timed it. I'm like, this is 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Rolls down
She's
the
been
mountain.
through- it rolls down the mountain and then kills people. She's
Yeah.
literally designed for the antithesis of that.
That one, the detail of the death
Yeah.
early on in this movie caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be this heavy, because that continues throughout this film.
Yeah.
Is the theme of that, of like death in this
Mhm.
nature's scape that they're in. Quick tangent. I just wanted to point that out.
No,
Keep
it's
going.
beautiful. No, I think that's fantastic. The taxing nature of it all, you see from the beginning, right? She goes to the ringer. Even before, essentially, it's almost like this is my pregnancy moment. And then, boom, the baby
Yeah.
shows up.
Yeah.
And then she has to chase down the egg. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, from the beginning, she's like, I don't know the programming for this. I
Yeah.
can't do this. And then, I forgot her name. Oh, what's her name? The
little,
possum.
little possum.
The mother.
Yo, that was
Vantra?
crazy,
No,
bro.
that's-
We got to talk about her.
Pinktail,
man. That was
Pinktail.
big-
Yeah, pink.
Catherine O'Hara, by the way,
Yo, Pinktail was
from
awesome, bro.
Home Alone fame.
Mm-hmm.
The moment she's like, I don't have the programming for this. Possum's like,
None of us.
none of us do. You're gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got a lot of those really great lines that hit
Mhm.
really hard. I wrote a few of them down. I'll probably bring them up throughout the rest of the next few minutes. But the taxing nature that she goes through from start to finish, obviously she's got the moss on her at the end of the movie. Beginning of the
Mhm.
movie, she's all like, factory
Yeah.
sealed,
Clean.
factory
Yeah,
clean, like
pristine.
pristine, ready
Mhm.
to go. It's crazy to see her progress throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one like even progression that she takes too that I just really appreciated. This movie's got a lot of small details. Even as I'm like
Yeah.
thinking about it and talking out with you guys, just a lot of small things that like they do a good job of just like leaving it up to you as the audience to like pick up on and know what it means and expository it yourself. So, but one like with her kind of growing through what she's growing in, like at some point she just starts talking normal.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good. That was a really cool progression to show you and to hint on to what she later says is like she's consistently rewriting her programming
Mhm.
just to break it, because that's the only thing she could do to figure out how to be a mother. Like,
Yeah.
because she literally couldn't figure it out, and she did exactly what the possum told her. Like, we do just kind of figure it out on the fly, and we just kind of move forward with it. But I thought that detail, like along with obviously like her just kind of growing more trees and she gets the log foot,
Yeah.
show like her progression too as a mother. But the one that really caught me at the beginning was just like the whole first like 20 minutes she's talking like a robot.
Yeah.
And then literally it just in a scene it flips.
Yeah. The time skip.
into her like really just talking normally. I thought that was like an elegant way of showing us like how she's progressing and what's happening with her internally, rather than anything else.
I think the most interesting part is like while part of it is the only way she can be this nurturing mother figure is to rewrite her programming.
Yeah.
Ultimately, she's doing all this because of the sole purpose of what she was created, which is to complete the task.
Yeah,
Some tasks
100%.
listen, it could be, what they're designed for. Maybe it's clean a room, do whatever. That's within the programming. She was tasked to take care of Bright Bill.
Right.
Only way she can complete that task, which she is programmed to do, is to rewrite her programming so that she's able to complete that task. So it's like, she's going, taking this in a different direction. But at the root of it all, it's because she was given the task, and the whole point of, the robots that were created were to complete the task by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And so if that meant rewriting the programming, it's like that's what she had to do in order to get the task done.
It's so well done. I really enjoy that. I think when you talk about things that you're supposed to pick up as an audience that they don't spell out for you, that's how you're supposed to give exposition in a movie.
Completely
Show,
agree.
don't tell. Show, don't
Completely
tell. And my favorite, I think this is my favorite because it's a huge lore dump that they do that they never acknowledge. Nobody says a word about it. Is when after they've taken off, after you're crying and you're crying after the Rocky montage and everything like that happens. When they're flying across the world and you see the Golden Gate Bridge underwater,
Yeah.
you see New York
That was
City
actually
underwater.
another thing I wanted to bring up.
That
by the way,
is to see that the world's been flooded from that background information. You could be looking at the geese and miss it.
yeah.
You could. They
Yeah.
make it pretty clear to
Pretty
see.
pretty
but,
big.
No,
But at the same time,
I literally
that's
hit the
great
10-second button. I
exposition.
said, was that underwater?
Yeah.
I said,
Yep.
It's a really great way of giving exposition, and I love how
Yeah.
they do that. Speaking of the geese, real quick before we move on to the next thing, the goose names in this movie are really freaking good.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's Bright Bill, and you see why that happens because she's glowing in the sun, and he's got a bill. You've got Long Neck. That's funny just because he has a long neck, sure.
Sure.
But there's 4 other names that I picked up that I wrote down that he calls, and I love them in order of my favorites. I would probably go Wingtip, Loudwing, Peck, and then Honkington. Did you guys pick up on Honkington?
No, I didn't pick up on
Honkington, that was Long Neck's like right hand man
That was
before
this guy.
Bright Bill. Yeah. Honkington. He's like he
Honkington,
gave
get
some
over here.
orders. It's like, that was his guy. Right before. He knows if all else fails, he's got Honkington. He's got his
Honkington is
back.
there. That's the 6th man of the year.
Facts.
Honkington is there. He's ready to go. I love it. Any specific thing that stuck out to you, Joe? I know you mentioned there's something you wanted to bring up.
No, for sure. I think it's the movie hits in like a different way, and like by all means, I know this movie emotionally hit for you guys as well. And what I'm about to go into, I'm not trying to make it sound like you won't understand what I'm saying because you definitely can.
No, I get you.
But like, if you know me, I have a 1-year-old, so like I'm like a new parent still, trying to figure this all out. And so I watched this with my wife a couple days ago, and we were watching it together, and it's just like, it just so beautifully depicts like what it really is kind of like in like early stage of parenthood.
yeah.
You just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You really don't. And you can watch all the YouTube videos. You can read all the books. You can talk to all the mothers like Pinktail, and you can get all this advice. At the end of the day, you just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
There is no, like, you can't read a book that's going to 100% prepare you for absolutely everything that you're going to encounter as a parent. And I just think this movie does that so well, right? On the flip side, I think this movie also depicts the moments where you see your kid get it so well. And I have never felt a better feeling in my life than like watching my daughter like go through the developmental stages. And so to watch like Roz react to Bright Bill as he's growing up, as he's, trying to, fit in, and watching him, get picked on and not fit in, and him feel sad, and, as a mother figure's like, trying to comfort him. And then, and then the moments where he does fit in, he's leading the pack, and like she's just watching him be the leader, that she knows he can be. It's like there's nothing more fulfilling than just like watching your kid like get it. Whether that's like, my daughter like starting to stand up for the first time, and then it's like she's trying to take that first step, and like she falls and she's not getting it. And it's just days and days you're kind of just seeing her stand up, but she can't quite take that first step.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that day comes where she takes that step and she doesn't fall.
Yeah.
Leads into another step. It's like those moments are some of the most beautiful moments I've ever experienced in my life. And so to watch this movie that's like it makes me feel that again. You know what I mean? This movie made me feel like watching my daughter take her first steps again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Wow.
like even the stuff of like the biggest moment, my wife started bawling, was when he was like, you know, the Rocky montage when he's like training, learning how to fly. Is like when she builds that whole ramp, or when Roz builds that whole ramp and she puts him on his shoulder and she runs like as fast as she can to help him kind of get that. It's like that's what being a parent is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like,
Wow.
there's just moments, man, that like I don't cry. I don't. I like very few movies have ever made me cry. Coach Carter being one, but that's besides the point. And you know, I started tearing. I was tearing up because it's
Yeah.
like it hit me so hard. So the fact that I was tearing up, my wife was in shambles. So my wife was like sobbing.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, man, it's real. It's
Yeah.
real. And I think like, not to say that if you're not a parent, you can't glean anything from this movie.
Mhm.
It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying if you are a parent, you just have a different perspective.
Yeah.
And not saying that you guys can take anything from it, but I just don't know if you guys can fully comprehend that until you have a little one. And like, I encourage you when that day does come for y'all, like rewatch this movie and it's gonna hit in a whole new light. That's gonna pluck strings that you didn't even know were there. And I think that to me is why this movie got the ranking it got. And we'll
Yeah.
get into rankings in a little bit. But like, just know that, you know, when I rank this, it's like it's coming from a perspective that it's making me feel something that I think no other movie probably ever has.
Yeah. I even in my short letterbox review, because I kept it brief this time, wrote, I know this is going to render me an absolute mess when I'm a parent someday.
Yeah.
And it's already fantastic. It's already really well
sure.
done. But I can tell it's going to hit different in a few years' time when, Lord willing, I have a bright bill of my own.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And
Well,
go ahead.
I also want to point out, I think it was interesting. Roz, obviously, like the mother figure.
Yeah.
The relationship and dynamic between Roz and Fink.
Think.
Yeah.
It's like, not that he was a father figure, but like
Co-parenting.
more like co-parenting. And it's
Yeah.
like Roz was way more like the nurturing, and he was like the life's tough, bro.
Yeah.
You know, which is like, as a father, like I feel like, you know, I have that perspective. It's like when she falls and she cries, I'm like, hey man, like life's hard.
Yeah.
Get up.
Right.
And when my wife's like, no, you can't say that. Or when you know, she goes and whatever and nags on me. But it just like that dynamic, I think it just worked.
It does.
And then you know, as much as Bright Bill had a character arc, Roz had a character. Fink's character arc
is really
is
good.
also so
And
beautiful.
Pedro
Yeah.
Pascal is super well at bringing it to life.
Yeah.
Dog.
Incredible job.
My man's can't miss.
He can't miss.
My
I've never
man's
seen
can't
him
miss.
miss.
I'm a
The Materialist is coming out
big-
this summer. I hope he doesn't miss there because I'm a little skeptic. but-
yeah. I'm a big Pedro Pascal guy.
Oh, we know.
Massive. Oh my gosh! If you've listened to any episode of Us, you know how much I rock with him.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see him in this movie, and he did not let me down.
Yeah, he's a house favorite for sure.
I think what's cool, speaking to his somewhat fatherly but also co-parenting role, what's cool is Roz doesn't know Jack when starting the movie. A lot of her, it comes from Pinktail, but a lot of her coaching comes from Fink because he knows the opposite. He's like, this is what this is how I'd get her.
That's what's wild.
Get him? Yeah.
Is he's helping her to love something, but he's never experienced love.
He's never experienced love, but he's got he knows what it feels like to not be loved and what he's been longing for.
Yeah.
So his
He's
arc
only
comes
giving her
around.
what he's looking for.
He's only what he's looking for. And at the beginning, he's looking for a meal.
Yeah.
And it slowly becomes, all right, I'm going to fatten this guy up. He's lying to himself.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to see what I can do and then eventually he's seeing off Bright Bill.
Yeah.
And he's a mess too. And
It made the moment when Roz was deciding to leave.
yes.
And
Oh,
I forget exactly what he said, but essentially when she decided, no, like I'm leaving, he essentially, like, all those feelings of abandonment and all that, like, it just like resurfaced, and you could see it in his demeanor
You can see it.
immediately.
Yeah.
in a fox, by the way.
In a fox.
Really well done.
Dude, I'll tell you, man, that hit me. That one hit me personally, like as a person. You know, it's just like, God dang, it was good.
Yeah.
And one more thing to Fink's development there. And you mentioned it there when she's deciding if she's going to leave and he's yapping, and she just goes, you know, something to the effect of, how do you tell somebody that you love them? And he goes, well, you just tell them. and he's saying to him,
Yeah.
he's looking for that love. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
Bright Bill's left.
It's too
You're the
late.
only person I have left.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not obviously she's thinking about Bright Bill.
For
She's like,
sure.
Bright Bill's gone, all those things. But you see that sadness dive back into his
Yeah.
psyche. And like you said, it's like his insecurities start coming back out, his trauma, whatever it is that's kind of alluding to. It comes back out.
That's what it was. He's like, she was like, how do you tell
Yeah.
someone you love them? And he says, you just kind of tell them. And he's like,
yeah, like
I'm gonna hear it.
tell
I'm gonna
me.
hear it for the first time in
And
my
she
life.
goes,
For the first time. She goes, I think it's too late. And he immediately realizes like,
Yeah. I thought that was one of
so,
the best
like,
scenes of the movie. As
bro.
sad as it
Really
was,
well
I thought
done.
that was one of the best scenes.
bro.
No, I 100% agree with you, and that's one of my last of my 2 points. And my biggest one is I think the film is the best in the first 2 acts. I think it loses its steam for me when it becomes a sci-fi movie.
Okay.
That's my opinion about it. That's why I'm not.
Okay.
You'll see my rating. I'm not giving it a perfect score. I think it loses a little steam in the third act when things get really sci-fi, and I'm a sci-fi lover, but it felt a little rushed and a little half-baked to me.
Okay.
I think that the film, I mean, it's not super long as it is. I think you could have prolonged a little bit more of the mother-son relationship, a little bit more.
Yeah,
with
I agree.
Fink
That
into
part was
there.
a little quicker than I initially
It was a little quicker than
it
I
was gonna
thought. It kind of snuck up on me. At one point, my wife turned to me and goes, wait, is this movie really short?
be. Yeah.
And I said, no, just wait, because things are coming back. But I remembered thinking that it went more cohesively with the story than I liked the movie overall this time more than when I saw it last year in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
But I remembered liking the third act a little bit more than I did. I think I really appreciate the first 2 a lot more on this watch.
Okay.
And the third act fell apart a little bit for me. I don't think it's poorly done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There are moments, I think, animation-wise, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the narrative and the story kind of falls apart. Their little moment, and I wrote it down, and it still is a really, really good line. But the moment where he says, Bright Bill says to Roz, "What happened is not your fault, but what you did to fix it is everything."
Mm-hmm.
It's hard,
Yeah.
but I'm like, you could have said that 20 minutes ago,
Yeah.
and it would have hit a lot harder, and we would have had a better wrap up to the movie. That's my
Gotcha.
opinion a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of the third act. I don't know what y'all thought about that, but
I didn't have necessarily that same opinion. I don't think it bothered me as much. But then again, I'm thinking about my movie critiques. Like that's never really bothered me that much.
Sure.
Like Shang-Chi is one of my favorite superhero movies, and
Mhm.
that's like the biggest complaint with Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Is
like,
the
hey,
third
these
act?
first 2 acts are great, and then we have a CGI dragon, and then it's like
Yeah.
that's like the biggest complaint. I just frankly don't care. Like it doesn't bother me as a
Sure.
moviegoer. So, I also thought that played into really well as well, explaining a lot of the exposition of the world we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, up until like the second act, I didn't even know if we were on Earth.
yeah, that's fair.
Like I
Okay.
really wasn't sure until I saw the bridge.
Right.
Okay.
And then once I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. And seeing kind of the Wall-E-esque nature of like how the world is
Yeah.
being run right now, that was fine for me. I agree. It doesn't like, I don't think it has as much weight to it as a lot of the rest of the film does.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's coming into play as to why it's not really resonating as much for you. But
Yeah.
because I agree, like that villain just kind of comes up is pretty standard. Like there's not many layers to that. It's
No.
like, hey, I'm sinister, trying not to be sinister, need your memories back,
Right.
pulling you back to the ship type stuff. But it didn't bother me as the movie went. It didn't sink
Yeah.
the movie for me,
It
especially
didn't
because
sink
like
it for me, to be fair.
yeah, okay, yeah, and
It just was
especially
my
like
biggest complaint.
a lot of the emotional moments that I think got me throughout this film. I'm not gonna say they were all in the third act, but like I remember specifically a few of them just at the end of the movie that got me to choke up. Like so,
That's good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say something. I'm curious I'm curious if you've like thought about it like this, and I'm wondering if it'll maybe like spark something or maybe help it click a little bit. First and foremost, I think in the third act, going with Bright Bill on the migration was vital to the line that was delivered, where what happened wasn't your fault, but what you did was everything. Because we got to see him, we get to see somebody who was counted out, who was thought to be, a runt, and wasn't going to amount to anything. Obviously live up to his potential, take over, lead the migration,
Yeah.
whatnot. It's beautiful. Where the third act, where I think there might be a gap or whatnot here, I think it really kind of leans into like another aspect of parenthood, but that's different than what's depicted in the first 2 acts, to where it takes a village.
Yeah.
And so it's like seeing the animal
That's good.
kingdom come together,
That was
and
my
unite
favorite part. for
is
sure.
like, it's kind of like, okay, like, while yes, parenting is like, it's all about kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
There's also this theme of like, the saying "it takes a village," it like I'm telling you guys, it's no joke. Like
Yeah, true.
me and my wife are here, and we have no family in this city, and we're doing it completely by ourselves, and it gets hard sometimes. And you know, we say every day to each other, we wish we lived near family, just because it is very, very difficult. And we
Yeah.
only have one kid. So it's like, when the saying "it takes a village" is absolutely no joke. And so how I took it, the third act was more of like depicting that.
Yeah.
And then when that
I like
ship,
that.
you know, when the ship comes and whatnot is threatening their family, it's like, oh, the village is pulling up.
Right.
You know, and we're gonna defend our own and whatnot. So that, to me, that's why I feel like it didn't feel flat.
I don't think it fell flat for me. It's just my least favorite part of the movie.
Okay.
I definitely appreciate that It Takes a Village part. It's got some funny moments.
Yeah.
I mentioned before the animation's really good in the third act.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there are parts of that that are really that are still really great, but I felt like it got meandered a little bit.
Yeah.
But it still stands as probably my biggest critique,
For sure.
my least favorite part, but it's still really well done. And I appreciate that It Takes a Village aspect. I hadn't thought about it that way. My last point before we get into ratings, because we're looking at about an hour now. Chris Bowers is the composer for this movie. The score tore me apart. The first time last year and this year, I Could Use a Boost is the scene at the end of the Rocky montage.
Mm-hmm.
I Could Use a Boost is the song that I listened to on the drive over here and was tearing up again because how great it is.
Mm-hmm.
That swell is super well done. If you guys are a score fanatic like I am, you will really, really, really appreciate that. Even if you don't watch the movie yet, just go listen to that song. It's really well done.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
And
on
then
this,
just the
soundtrack.
name of the song fits the moment
It
so
does.
well.
Yep.
You know.
It really fits
Yeah.
fits the moment really well.
Trying to think who all I heard. I mean, I'm not really finding the artists for these songs that they got to sing these ones, but
Oh, it's on Spotify, but
I could have sworn I heard more than a few that I recognized.
there could be.
I thought Casey Musgrove was singing one of them, but I don't think she was.
There could be.
Great Casey Musgrove.
I mean, it's just that
Nah, they're all
that's what
credited as
makes
Chris Bowers.
that's what makes a movie, right? It's when everything clicks like that.
Yeah.
It's when when the narrative is hitting home. It's when the animation is crisp. It's when the music complements everything so well. It's like that's what's making this movie, as good as it is. It's not necessarily just the plot or
Right.
not necessarily just the animation.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like the fact that all of it is hitting on the same page is what takes a movie from, oh, it was a really good movie, to like, that might be Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
It's Mount Rushmore for me because of that. That brings it home. If you give that a Captain Underpants, just because of the comparison that we mentioned earlier, a Captain Underpants soundtrack does not hit.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit as hard.
You
at
sure?
least. I don't think it hits as hard.
What
It
do you
still
mean?
hits. It still hit. To
You mean
me, the
discuss this?
score does a lot of great lifting for that. That's all I gotta say. I'm not saying that the narrative falls flat, that the rest of the animation, the rest of the movie is poorly done.
For
but I
sure.
really, really appreciate how that brings it all together. Okay. Moment of truth. Moment we've all been waiting for. This is your first time hearing the ratings as we dive into this last segment before we close out here tonight. The Letter Talked rating is an art form. It's a creative endeavor. It is something that comes from the deepest depths of your soul. And it's something that's unorthodox. So I'm going to start off with the first ever Letter Talked rating before we get into the Letterboxd rating to kind of make it a little more sense for the layman terms. My rating for this movie comes from obviously the score, the animation, the allegory to parenthood, the character progression, the arcs that take place, the lovable nature of Roz and Bright Bill and the whole cast of characters. This is a very positive rating for me. You'll find out to know that I'm probably going to be the harshest critic on all these ratings.
Yeah,
But-
you thought I was a harsh.
But
critic.
out of those standards, for my Letter Talked rating, I give this 50 Forest Avengers out of 62.
Yo,
50 Forest Avengers out of
they were
62.
strapped up like the Avengers.
They were
at the end
strapped
there, bro.
up. They were ready to go.
I was actually, for a moment there at the end of the film, I was like, how are we doing this?
How are we doing
How
this?
are they beating? How are these guys doing that?
How are these squirrels making this work? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So 50 Forest Avengers out of 52 is my Letterboxd rating. Letter Talked rating. My Letterboxd rating, I gave it 4 stars out of 5, which is a fantastic rating for me. I think it's a fantastic movie. Joe?
For me, my Letter Talked ranking, I'm gonna give this 12 Swiper the Foxes out of 12 Swiper the Foxes,
I love
which would compute to my letterbox ranking was a 5-star.
Beautiful.
And I was going between 4.5, 5, but I think the emotional beats that this movie, or the emotional strings that this movie plucked for me, is just too overwhelming, too close to home. I think it's also I think a big thing for movies is when you watch it. So if I was watching this movie before I had a kid, a lot different. If I was watching this movie after my kid had moved out, probably a little different. But the timing in which I'm watching this movie and I'm going through these stages, is why it gets the rating it gets.
Wow, I love it.
I agree. That's a real thing.
Sure.
Whenever you watch the movie, will definitely hit different for
100%.
any movie you're watching.
Mhm.
I'm giving this 13 trees cut down by Paddler the Beaver out of 18.
That's
Okay.
pretty solid.
Yeah, they're big
Okay.
trees. They're big trees.
They are big. Yeah.
For the uncultured out there, that translates to 4 out of 5 stars.
4 out of 5. Hey,
Yeah. Good. I thought. Listen, this is just a really solid movie. There's not really many critiques at all, if any. For me personally, it's not just a 5. It's not really a 5 because it's just not I don't want to say it's not the type of movie that I love.
yeah.
But just for me personally, it's just not reaching.
4 stars is a great rating. Yeah.
With the I'm a little new to the letterbox rating, but I gotta try and keep my 5 stars a little limited here.
Yeah.
I don't want to go crazy with the 5 stars because I feel like that's never really taken seriously. So solid 4. Fantastic movie. I'd recommend it to anybody. And I think like you said, there's you can relate to the movie like that. You can relate to the movie in really any type of way. I had several moments throughout that, and I'm a sucker. I get choked up and tear up at a lot of as I've gotten older and experienced more life events, and I just can empathize with a lot of these little moments, and they always just kind of get me. So there was a lot of those moments in this film, and by the end of it, I literally got up and I was like, "Frick, man, got me. I didn't escape this one." So it's just a really good movie. Yeah,
It's really well done. I'm going to leave us with one quote from The Wild Robot. My favorite quote of the movie: "Sometimes to survive, we must become more than what we were programmed to be." I love that. I love that. And we see Roz do that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on the inaugural and debut podcast, LETTERTALKED podcast. We had some fantastic guests. We had a great time. We talked about some tears, some laughs, and it was really fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week, you'll be seeing another episode with potentially some different guests. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what gets to happen. Reminder, follow the House 1055 podcast on all socials. Thank you to Noah and to Joe.
our pleasure.
You guys are fantastic.
Our pleasure, really.
Follow us on TikTok, Andy P. Rob as well. We had a great time. I hope you all enjoyed every minute of it, and we will see you next time.